that has been creating great training sessions for us to build us to be better. Father, we ask that even as we start, you will start with us and help us to gain this knowledge and get better. Thank you, Lord, because we know you've answered. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, so we are going to move to safety brief. Please, Dorcas, are you on the call to take the safety brief? Dorcas, are you on the call? Okay. Dorcas is not on the call. Queen, please, can you help us with the safety brief? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, sorry, Dorcas is just joining. So I'm just admitting her. Please, let's give her a minute so she can take the safety brief. Oh, it seems network is disturbing. Please, Queen, I'm trying to unmute you. Try to see if you can unmute yourself so you can help us with the safety brief. I'm trying to unmute you, but I don't know, network. Sorry, please, 1 minute. You can't, okay. Okay, so let's proceed. Dorcas, are you here now? I think Dorcas is on the call now. Dorcas, are you on the call now? Please unmute and take the safety brief. Okay, I can't hear Dorcas, so let's go ahead. So if you're driving, please don't take this call while driving. Make sure you park before taking this call, and do not block your ear to the point that you can't hear the fire alarm close to you or any alarm in case of an emergency. And then, you know, it's the COVID era, so make sure that you're not in a crowded place. You keep your distance of 2 meters. You're using your masks, and you're safe. So please, for the purpose of this meeting, if you're not speaking, mute your mic so that we'll not have noise in the background. And if you have any questions, please, you raise your questions when it's time. Use Q for questions in the chat box and C for comments. Thank you. So we're going to move further forward to the welcome address by our section chair. SC, please, are you on the call?
Good evening.
Okay, sorry, let me change it.
Okay, Madam Tomba, you can go ahead. I think S is on.
Yes, I will. Good evening, and good evening. A warm welcome to everyone. I would like to, first of all, apologize that our section chair, Dr. Joseph Amibibama, is not able to join us at the moment. Hopefully, he will join us somewhat during the call, and then he will be able to give us a welcome remark. But on his behalf, I would like to welcome everyone onto the call. I see we have about 39 persons. This was actually a program that this WIN subcommittee of Section 103 put together to see how we can encourage and develop digital capacity skills in our females. I like to say females, but I know that we have a mix of people on the call. So just as a way of showing of hands, are we able to, can I just know how many females are on the call, please? Just raise your hand. Let's use the raise hand button if you can. Let me just use a head count to see how many percent of women we have on this call. Okay, we have some people in the waiting room, perhaps they are female. I have seen 1, 2, Simeon, how can you give me that number now? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just 5. Oh my God. Wow, just 5. So the rest of us are, what? It won't worry. No, it's Queen. It's Queen I should call. Queen. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Queen, please unmute. Is Queen with us? Queen Moses, put your hands down. Don't even raise your hand to increase that number. Queen, put your hands down. Let me see your hand. Queen, oh, please unmute. I want to hear your voice. Only 8 ladies. Nonetheless, it's okay, but we would have loved to see 80 to 70% of women on this call. We have to do, what do they call that now? An AAR. Queen says she's not able to unmute. I don't know whether that's something that Simeon has to solve. But nonetheless, I would have loved to hear from Queen, because to see why we don't have more females on it. In fact, I'm seeing that it's just seven hands are raised out of 41. That is so unacceptable. But nonetheless, we are glad that you are here. If you are able, those of the gentlemen that are here, once you learn the skill, please make sure you train a female. If you do that, then we would have achieved our aim. Please help us to achieve our aim. By once you learn, whatever you learn during these 2 days, you're able to share that with a female, so that we are sure that we have achieved our aim and our objective. But nonetheless, we are happy that you're able to join on to this call. We have an excellent, well-capable facilitator who will be able to deliver and take us through the training. It's a virtual training and it's a bit of a large class, so we'll encourage you to see how you can follow through. We have some facilitators in the audience that would also be able to try to answer some questions so that we don't overburden the facilitator. So feel free to ask your question in the chat session. There are some persons that will try to provide answers to you, and then we'll see how we can make the best of it, especially between today and tomorrow. So on behalf of the WIN committee, I wish to welcome you and hope that we have a very pleasant stay and that we're able to make the best of this opportunity. So thank you for joining, and do have a good time.
Thank you very much, our WIN chair. Like you've heard from our WIN chair, this is a program that was targeted at females, but nonetheless, males are not restricted. We can see that we have a large number of males on the call, so do well to pass this knowledge to your female counterparts after this. And like she said also, we have people who are there on the call to take your questions, to answer your questions, because it's a large class and the facilitator might not be able to attend to everyone at the same time. So if you have questions, feel free to drop it on the chat box and you'll be attended to. Okay, so now we're going to introduce our speaker who is already on the call. I hope you have your laptops with you, your notepads and everything to write so that you don't forget what you're being told. Okay, so Simeon, please, next slide. Okay, our speaker today, our facilitator is Sylvia Adobe Ikebudu. Sylvia is a graduate of electronic engineering from the University of Nigeria in Nsukka. She holds a degree in Introduction to Data Analytics using Excel from Rice University, Texas. She started her tech career as an intern, data center unit at CWG PLC, and since then have handled other job roles with different firms in advancing her career. This includes, but not limited to, application developer for Andela, field service engineer, and subsequently the operations data analytics for IHS Towers, where she currently holds the position of a project manager. She is an ardent advocate for women empowerment and serves as a woman tech ambassador for the Women Tech Network from 2020 to 2021, thereby developing her leadership skills and advocating for more females to embrace tech-related career paths. She has multiple certifications in data analytics, such as Nano Degree in Data Analytics from Udacity, Google certifications in data analysis, certification in human information technology from British Computer Society, and a host of other certificates, including being a certified Lean Six Sigma Yellow Belt. Her knowledge of various data analytic tools such as SQL, Excel, Power BI, and Tableau is vast. She's goal-driven, engaged in talent development and asset management. She intends to use her continuous growth in data analytics to uncover insights and keep you informed. So let's give a virtual round of applause as we welcome our facilitator, Silva Adobe Kebudu. You have the floor, ma. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, thank you. And good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Christopher. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. I'm just trying to share my screen. Um, okay, thank you so much. And good evening, everyone. How has your day been? Hope you're doing very well. My name is Sylvia, like you rightly said. Christopher, thank you so much for the introduction. I also want to say a very big shout out to SPE for this very wonderful opportunity. Um, I've been following the trends, and I know that this week has really been a lot for you people, but you're still here, kicking and staying strong. And I want to say well done to you, and well done to everyone that has taken out time to come and learn data analytics with Excel with us today. Thank you so much. So, for this course, basically, what we are going to look at is introduction to Excel. I'm sorry, I know I had network issues before logging in. I don't know the ground rules that has been made so far, but let me just start on the existing protocol and continue. We're going to talk on, so what you would expect on this course would be basically data analytics, basic formulas, functions, data cleaning, useful tools in cleaning, pivot tables, visualizations, sourcing data, practicals, and then I'll give you more tools that you're going to keep learning. I'll also give you sources and resources where you're going to get more data from, while we also maybe stay in touch and while also join other communities for your learning. Sorry, just to be sure, can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so I would also want to get feedback because we'll be discussing in this session. Today we're just going to do like an introductory class, just talk about data analytics, what it's about, where you can find analysts, what they're supposed to do, what the area is about. Then we'll have just one class on deep dive with hands-on. But from tomorrow, we are going to do more of Excel. I'm not going to show any slides tomorrow. We're just going to do the practicals because this field is a very hands-on one, and it's very important that we keep doing different practicals, trying out different projects, learning from one another, teaching different people. A lot of hands-on is required for data analysis. So that's basically what we're going to be doing. So just to also know, and let me just check the comment section as well. How many people, I would want to know like what you know about data analytics. Before now, have you heard about it? Where are you on it? What do you know about data analytics? Just to have a clue on the people that are here and their levels, basically. So maybe Christopher, you'd help us look at the comment section just to get feedback.
Okay. So please drop your answers in the comment section so I can go through it.
Is anyone coming in?
Yes, MO said intermediate level, not considering Power BI visualization.
Okay.
We have another person, Daniel. He said he has heard of it.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fine. So basically, data analytics is something that we actually do every day. In my journey before I even heard of data analytics, it's funny to know that I had already started analyzing data. So I started off when I actually knew I was doing this very well was on the field. I was able to use the data I gathered from the performance of the sites. Then I managed telecommunication sites. I was able to gather the data that I managed, the data from these sites, their performance, to help me determine sites that are performing very well, to avoid running head-to-scatter and going from one site to another, because basically these sites are always very far from one another. So I needed a data-driven decision to enable me go to wherever I'm going to. So it's not limited to Google. It's not limited to Facebook data. You can actually get data for yourself. You can decide to track the meals that you eat every day. You can decide to check if you eat carbohydrates every day of the week, or check if you eat proteins more. So if you take a data um, if you collect your data maybe for a week or for a month or for a year, by the end you'll be able to see how long you, or maybe the class of food that you eat in a day, the class of food you eat in a week. Then it also would help you to decide on changing your meal style, or maybe if you're deficient in protein, maybe you're noticing you're having a lot of carbohydrates, then you can decide to touch it up a bit and move into another class of food. So data analysis, data is everywhere, and right now we are the whole world is big on data. We have a lot of statistics going on. Facebook is collating, Instagram is collating. These days, when you notice that when you even search for a thing on Google, or maybe you search for a thing on Instagram, or you like a post on TikTok, similar events would follow you. The data will just keep crawling and following you. Or maybe you search data analytics for Excel, it just follows you everywhere you go. Your ads will be data analytics for Excel. So data we have a lot of data right now, and for you to be here and for you to be trying to get information on this field, I think it's a very big plus to you, because you're looking into the future and you're getting yourself ready for where the future is going to. So that being said, data analytics is a process of examining data sets in order to find trends and draw conclusions about the information they contain. So just for us to do a little data gathering right now, can we just go to www.mentee.com and we'll just answer one question? So please just type www.mentee.com. I'll see when you're doing it. I'll be able to see from here if you're doing it. So just try.
Okay, ma. So there's supposed to be a code, and you're asking for the code.
Okay, so you're going to use this code 2960961. It's on the screen. So we just want to get data of how your day was, basically, and then we're going to see a visual here to get insights on how we are, how the people in this call right now are feeling. So far, if you can see my screen, we have 6 people saying that their day was great, and it's good to know that, okay, that we have no sad person, no one had a sad day so far, and one person had a day that is just there, okay too. So with this data that we are seeing now, we are able to compare, or we're able to see the exact feeling of how different people on this call are at this point. So this is data analysis. Here we are gathering data, and we are also visualizing the data at the same time. So it makes it easier for people to see at a glance what the information you're trying to pass is for everybody. So thank you so much. At this point, we have a 7 to 7 for everyone. Okay. So the people that had a great day, while we also pray that the people that are having a day that is just there will join you very soon. Okay, so thank you for that. So moving on, here we just want to talk about the different data analysis process that we have. So we have, I just broke it down into 5. You would also get the deep dive as we go on and do a hands-on practical for this. So we have the requirement gathering in data analysis. So basically, when you're trying to analyze a data, or when you have to do a data analysis, there has to be a question that you're trying to answer. There has to be a solution that you're trying to prefer. There has to be something that you're trying to solve. So the first thing that we need to do for a data analysis process is we have to gather the data that we need. We have to first of all know the requirements, know what you need, ask questions. So just like the activities that we just concluded, I wanted to know how your day was, and I basically just asked the question, how was your day? And then I made it a close-ended question, feedback rather, by giving you just 3 options, which is great, sad, and just there. But basically, I needed data, and then I needed to ask questions that are specific to the data that I need. So this would help me analyze my data. So when you're asking the questions, you need to know that you're asking the right questions. You might not be very sure of the questions to ask, but usually you need to see the end from the beginning. So you need to know what you're trying to solve. What problem are you trying to solve? Then you keep asking questions that will help you get the answer to this problem while you go on. So requirement gathering, you need to know why you're gathering this data. You need to ask the right questions. You need to know the type of data that you're gathering. Is it a statistical data? Is it a text data? Um, is it a hypothetical data? So you need to know the kind of data that you're gathering. And you need to find a way and plan to analyze this data. So if you're getting data from different sources, do you need a tool like an analyzing tool to analyze it, or do you just need to sit down and cancel some things, or do you need to, is it an audio data, do you need to filter, do you need to delete some information, do you need to re-record? So you have to know how to also analyze this data when you gather it. So moving on, the second process is data collection, which is also very similar with the gathering data. So the gathering data is to know what you need to gather. The data collection is, we are now in the process of collecting this data. So we need to know, this data collection is just telling you how to get this data from different specific sources. So online, there are different sources, different places where you can get data. We're going to use one of them as we go on when we're trying to do a hands-on analysis. But you have specific sources, and you have specific sources could include Kaggle. Then you have surveys where you go around and ask questions. I understand that we have students here, so I'm very sure that you would maybe on while you're doing your project, or maybe you have some general courses, you would have needed to like run a survey or have questionnaires for people to answer, or have direct conversations with people, or have one-on-one interviews with people just to get information. I know I don't know if people still use the library though, but library just a means of collecting your data. So in data collection, you need to know how to collect this data, and then what and in what manner you're going to store your data when you've collected it. So now that you've collected your data, we need to clean this data, because of course there is a lot of junks or a lot of errors that could come in as you're gathering this data. Sometimes even when you need to just move an Excel file from one mail to another, or you have to just download it, errors could come up, the format could change, it could be a CSV file and you don't really understand what it is. There could be blank spaces, there could be duplicates. So data cleaning is very mandatory. It cannot even be overemphasized, because you need to go through this process of cleaning your data and cleaning it properly, because when you have the data that you've cleaned is what is going to determine your outcome. So imagine you're analyzing a data that is wrong, your answer is already wrong automatically. So you need to know the data that you're cleaning. You need to clean your data very well. You need to run different checks, even if your colleague, for instance, has told you that this data has been properly cleaned. From experience, I would still say that you should look at it, just check it, do a run through, do some basic checks, and just be sure that the data is actually clean, like we said. Then going on, we have the data analysis proper, and then interpretation of data. So here is where you analyze your data, you do a deep dive into the data, you look out for outliers. Outliers are data facts that are not looking like they are part of the data. So you could have that in a population of 100,000 people, you could have that 50,000 fair are light skinned, and then okay, you could have maybe 40,000 you have a light skinned, then you now have 40,000 dark skinned, then you just have maybe 10 people or 100 people that are chocolate skinned, if I should use that. So the outliers are just the data sets that are very, very different from the average data. We're going to see one also as you're going on. So then in the data analysis stage, you have to also interpret your answer, the questions that you've asked. You need to be coming closer to your answer. So as you ask a question, you come to the answer, you try to clean it, you try to analyze, you look at your outcome, you see if it is answering the questions that you're asking. If it's not, you have to ask another question, just a back and forth, basically analyzing the data to see that it actually answers the questions that your stakeholders need to answer. It gives you the right information that your stakeholders are looking for. So after the deep dive and analysis, which also needs some tools to do that, we move on to the data visualization. So here is like your data at a glance. So just like we were able to see that from this call, we had a total number of 14 people that responded to the activity that we just did, and then 7 people are sad and 7 people are feeling had a great day. So that is basically how you should just get your visuals. You should be able to get your insight at a glance. So for some reason, you might not, as when the data maybe gets so complex, it might not be as easy as what we just saw. But to a very good extent, we should be able to see our data and get insight at a glance. Then you should also be able to use the right visuals for the right data. So imagine that For instance, I use a scatter plot to just show the bar instead of the bar charts that we used in the previous analysis. So in the previous analysis, just in case you don't know, okay, we used a bar chart instead of a scatter plot, or instead of a map, or instead of any other visual that we could have actually used, and that was able to tell us straight to the point what the data is about. So we need to know, we need to make a very good choice of the visual that we are using for each data. Then we also need to share the findings that we have with our stakeholders, because of course this data we're analyzing most times is for a stakeholder decision, or maybe for a business decision. So your stakeholders could differ. There could be some in your level, maybe your colleagues who are you're also working on the data with. So then you're sharing the data with them just for them to see what the data is about, how long or how well or how far you've gone in your analysis. So there could be back and forth on sharing with the stakeholders. But finally, when you're done with your full analysis, when your full analysis process is done, you should be able to share the outcome of your data with your stakeholders. And of course, it cannot also, or it might not also, depending on the stage, be the final stage. So you might also need to get feedback from your stakeholder and then make some corrections that you need to make, and then till you get the final data, you get the final information that you need. So just in case, if you have any questions as you're going through the slides, please drop it in the comment section so you don't forget. And we're going to take it at the end of this, and that will be very soon. Okay, so going on, we have different tech skills. We have different skills actually that we need for a data analyst to do well. We have the non-tech skills, which could include your communication, basic communication. It could be in writing, it could be just normal effective communication. Because when you're done with your analysis, if you're not able to tell the next person either in writing or in more information, or giving the person more information on what this data is about, if you cannot express yourself to the next person, then it becomes another problem. So we need communication skills, very good communication skills. We need critical thinking. We would also need very good team relationship and collaboration in your analysis, because you need a lot of that. You could be working with different people, maybe the data engineer, the data scientist, or your managers. In whatever case, you need very good collaboration for your data or for your analysis to be done properly. So moving into the tech skills, we have SQL, Excel, Tableau, Python, R. So basically, these things differ with respect to the amount of data sets that you need to analyze. So Excel or spreadsheets, which could include the Google Sheets, the data sets that you are analyzing, because Excel is limited, so maybe very small data sets could be analyzed properly with Excel. And I would say that Excel is a very, very great tool, and of which we're going to deep dive into it to an extent as we go on. So for tech skills in data analysis, we need Excel, spreadsheets. We also need a query tool, which we'll be able to need to use to query databases, because sometimes the data sets that you're going to analyze might not just come in as a spreadsheet. Sometimes you might need to query an actual database to get the data that you need by yourself to um, maybe to run your analysis. So that's where we need SQL. Then we need a visualization tool, which would help us see the data just like we saw in the activity that we just concluded. In this case, you could use Tableau, you could use Power BI. These are very great visualization tools that you could use. And as you're starting, you can really do a lot with these tools, and you're really going to be very fine. So the Python or a programming language, you would need a basic knowledge of Python, just a basic knowledge of programming generally, because maybe as you're going on, you might need to have to analyze maybe larger data sets, or maybe have some scripts to do, but that is actually in a very more elaborate environment. And using programming tools, sorry, could be when you've gotten to the data science area. So for basics, your spreadsheets, your query tool, your visualization tool is fine, and then just a good knowledge of Python would be very great for you. So just for more tips, looking at job roles or internship roadmaps, it is very advisable that you learn the skills that you need for this data analysis very well. So the skills like we just saw, you could sometimes it takes from 6 to a year, 6 months to a year, or 4 months to a year. Basically, it just depends on how good or how many projects you've done. You need to go hands on with the data analysis. You need to get bonds. You need to fail. You shouldn't be afraid to fail or get the wrong data. You just need to learn the right skills and keep using it. Then you also need to be very visible in this space, because this is actually general for everyone and for different roles. Basically, you cannot just be in a space, in a closed space, and people would see you. So for you to be very good, for you to learn faster, for you to be exposed in this data field, you need to be visible. You need to learn. You need to show that you're learning. You need to learn with people. You need to join communities. There are different communities that you could join, and I'm going to tell you one or two of them. So you could just go online, go on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a very great tool for you to connect to people, connect with other data analysts, go for tech programs, learn with them, do projects with them, get hands-on with them, um and anything can happen. It has a lot of times it's been of great help. So you also have to do projects. So you have to have project. When I talk about projects are just solving, doing the real work. Get a data set, run the data set, analyze it, write down the processes that you took, the how you clean the data, split it, make it clear, and then you can put it up on maybe GitHub or LinkedIn. So basically, even if it's just a VLOOKUP on Excel, it's very easy for someone to go through your journey. Okay, he started from just introductory, and now maybe from Excel, and now he knows SQL, now he knows Power BI, now he does Tableau. So run projects. You don't need to feel bad, or don't let imposter syndrome affect you. Just get hands on. Even as we are starting now, just get hands on the little that you can do. From just gradually, you're going to keep going on. And there are open sources to get data sets, which I mentioned earlier. We're going to at least use one of them to learn how to get the data sets. Then also your resume, the more projects, more visibility, reach out to people, get rejected, it's a normal thing, get your unfortunate emails, win at the end of it. So basically, this is how it goes. It's not easy peasy, but getting a hands on, even as an internship, or as maybe undershadowing someone, or getting a mentor in this.
You won't worry, it looks like our speaker is muted. Simeon, can you help us?
Okay, thank you very much. So, what slide? Well, I would just like to know where we all stopped, where you stopped hearing me at. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. Okay, so I was talking about this slide. I was talking about data analytics and data analysis, and how they actually are not so similar, but are interchanged by a lot of people, including the data scientists and the data analytics themselves. So, so the tools that you use for data analysis is actually different from data analytics. Data analytics is a big deal. It's the start to finish of the data. So you go from gathering of the data to the business decision itself. Data analysis is the process, is the analysis itself. It's where you do the hands-on, the cleaning. You can use maybe Open Refine is like a database and a spreadsheet at the same time. So it's just a deep dive into cleaning and actually doing the data analysis itself. Also, things that could also get confusing in this space is differences between data engineers, data analysts, and data scientists. And I've tried to just give a few here. Let's just see data engineers as the back end guys. I don't know if we have some tech people here. They are the ones that do the infrastructure. They do the pipelines. They develop the warehouses. They use different tools. Basically, the database guys, they do the dirty work in the back end. Then we also have the data scientists, which we have the data analysts, which also go further to um, analyze this data using tools like SQL, Excel, R. They visualize the data. They let us see the hidden patterns, the trends that we need to see in the data sets. While the data scientists will now go further to use maybe machine learning, Python. So done. So it's just like a next step, a deep dive into the programming world for data. So here we just have data pulled from Statista, Tech, Novia, and then Research Dive. So it's just to let you know that this field, a lot is being done.
Sorry, Sylvia. Sorry to cut you. I think your network got interrupted somewhere in the middle of your speech, and then you were knocked off. Your slide is no longer showing, so please reproject.
All right, thank you. Is it up now? Sorry, can you see it now?
Yes, I can see your screen, but yes, you're up.
All right.
Yes, thank you.
You are welcome. So I'm already here. I don't know if This is where we all stopped. Could you just confirm if you got up to this stage?
No, we did not. The slide before this.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so before we had the network interruption, I was talking about the different types of or different roles you can see in data, in the big data world, and these three keeps confusing a lot of people. So this is just telling us how they differ. So the data engineers, like I said earlier, you can just see as the back end people, while the analysts would be the front end. They do the UI UX. They bring it out for people who don't really understand the programming or how the dirty work is done, of a layman, to just understand what you're trying to say from an existing data. While the data scientists are like the middle guys, they also go a step further to tell us what, maybe predict using AI and machine learning, to tell us what these trends are going to be in future, while the analyst is using the present day or a past event to give us insights on data. The scientists to go further to build pipelines or models or trends on what could happen in future using AI and machine learning and other things as well. So these are just data pulled from these sources, and it's basically just telling us different or that this data world or data role, data analysis, science engineers are going to be still very useful even in future. So we have a lot being spent by data companies to get their structure, to get their resources, to get their infrastructure ready to capture, collate, analyze, and have business informed decisions using data. So this is a very good one for all of us who are learning data analysis. So this is going to be the end for this slide for now. We would then have to go into our Excel to do more analysis or proper. So, but at this juncture, I just want to get feedback, answer questions just before we move into Excel.
Okay, thank you very much, Ma. We have two questions in the chat box. So maybe we'll just take those two, then we'll go forward.
Okay.
Okay, so the first question is, why is SPSS not part of the tech tools? And then the second
Okay.
question is, examples of query tools. What are some examples of query tools?
Oh, okay. So for this part, of course, so this is just a few of them. There are other things that you can use for data analysis. SPSS is something, is a statistic one that people are also getting to use, getting to adapt as well. But just for basics and for general terms, I just listed the things that are not really specific driven, just on a general note. But of course, it is also very important and can also be used. And of course, other query tools are, you could have Postgres. There are different query tools that you could use. Maybe Postgres, SQL, which has different databases as well, like MongoDB. But just in general, so the basics for today or the focus for today is just Excel. So that's why we are not having a lot of other um, query tools. But Postgres is also a very good query tool. Also BigQuery, which you can use online to, just in case you cannot download a data on your, maybe for remote purposes or on-premise purposes on your laptop. So you can also use BigQuery for data analysis or to query your tool. So those are like two good ones as well.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we should go forward. Then we can take questions later because of time.
Okay. So going forward for today, we are just going to do a basic formulas in Excel. Then I'm going to share a data set. I would have to give it to Queen. Then you'd look at it. Then tomorrow would have other things to do, basically to analyze and do like a proper one. So this is just showing us what the Excel is not just about maybe just inputting things. There are different formulas that we can use in Excel, and this is just the very, very basic, which could be addition, subtraction, multiplication. Then we also have other math functions that we can also use. So I'm just going to use this to run through some examples. Then tomorrow we would have like other clean data and other things to use to go around. That's fine. Okay, so going further, so for the addition, like there are different ways to actually just add a data set. So this is just a sample data that I just made. And there are different ways. You can just use a function, or you can just use a formula, or you can just drag and drop and basically have your answer. So just for the addition, to add data sets in Excel, you could pull this down and just hover to this sum, and then you click on sum and you're able to get the total number of these data sets. You could also just run, like add the cells one by one using a plus sign. So in this situation, we're just going to click equal to, which is going to be the very first thing you do, and then you do a click on the plus, then you select the data set that you want to add, and then you just enter. So this is just like another way you can do the addition. Then you can also do a function. You can just do equal to add. So in Excel, when you want to do an addition, basically you just do a sum and then you select. So this pops up to show you like the adds, the numbers of the range, or so it's just telling you, it's giving you more instructions. So when you just do like an equal to and you type what you want and then you go to each of them, it tells you these are different functions that you have for a sum. You have a Sumif, sum product, and when you go through, it tells you what this or how to actually use this data. So the if functions are usually used in conditions, like when you need to have a condition, you need to add a condition to to the data sets that you're trying to work on. So to just use the sum function for this, we just do the sum and then you drag the range of what you want to sum, or you can just pick it one after the other and do a comma, and then and then at the end you're able to get some of the values that you're looking for. So all these things could come in as you're trying to clean or you're trying to analyze a data set. Also for the division tool, you can still add your equal to, and then maybe you're trying to divide or to get, so usually you have a question that you're trying to answer. Maybe you want to know the um, basic price or the unit price of milk that other boys spent. So for instance, you need to get unit price of milk spent by other boys. So this, of course, so that's why we actually need like basic mathematics and statistics in what we're doing. So we know that to get the basic price, you just need to do like an equal to, you need to use the amount, and then because you are doing a division, you can just click divide. The basic math formulas that we know can still work here very well. Then you click on what it's supposed to divide by, and then you get this value. So, and that also is what we have for multiplication. So for the multiplication, we're using an asterisk. That's what we use here for the data. So for the multiplication, assuming we want to know the total price of or the total cost that water Olga spent on biscuits for this particular period of time. So what we can do is to just do an equal to, go to water Olga, and then do the price or the amount. Okay, this is actually the total amount of, this is actually the total, but assuming you're trying to get like do a multiplication, basically just to multiply, we can just do an equal to the customers for stock Adams, for instance, then use the asterisk and then times the amount. So this is for multiplication, and then subtraction is also very basic as well. So you also just do an equal to, you can do, you want to subtract this cell from this, and then you have your balance, which is 1,000 naira. So, but also basics here, we also need to know how cells are named. For these spreadsheets, we have this, which is the columns, and then we also have this, which is the rows. So the lines are run like these are the rows, and then the columns. So in a basic cell naming convention, you go with the column and then the row. So this is cell A1 and this is cell B1. And also when you see here, as you click on the cells, you're going to be able to see what each cell is representing or what is named. And usually when Excel is running analysis, it calls each cell by its name, and that is what it uses to run or to compute an analysis. Also, this is the function, is a formula bar. So when you type on formulas, or when you type formulas, or you highlight an existing data cell with a formula, you'll be able to see the formula that is embedded under the data from this formula bar. Also, you can just click on the cell and then go further to type your formula here. For instance, you're trying to do an addition, so you just click on the cell or where you want it to be. So assuming we want the answer to be here under addition, probably we want to add two numbers. Let's say we want to add the total amount of milk and sardine for Ada and Udek respectively. So we just click on this equal to, then click on the cell. So then we're trying to use the formula bar in this case. So we just type there and then click on the plus, and then you can now go further to click on your sardine and then you click on enter. Also, if we know the cells, so for this is a cell, this cell for Adam milk, to get this amount is cell H, then the row is row 3. So a good way to also do the addition would be you type your equal to, then you go to the cell H, then you type H because that's the cell, and then you go to 3, so that's H3. So this automatically highlights this cell, and then we can see that we're talking about this particular cell. Then you can click on plus, then the next one is we're still going to be on this cell H. So we just type H, and then the sardine is on row 4. So we'll also just type row 4, and then so that sums it for this. So this is just basic. There are different formulas you can do on Excel, and this is just like the very basic. So going further to some math functions that we also have, I've also explained the sum, the count if, the average. So we've talked about the sum. So just to look at a count, it will be good that we just have questions to answer, but I have like a good place where we have spelled out questions that we are going to answer and then take it one by one. So just for this, we're just going to know how to use the functions and how to use the formulas, so when we get there, we'll just answer the questions directly. So to get a count of a number, a very basic way, a manual way we can do it is just to click on this particular column, and then if you look down here, you'll be able to see the counts of this column. So we have that it's a count of 34, an average of 167.0, and then it sums to 5,514. But assuming we need to count a specific range, so what we can just do is also using the function. So you have to start with equal to, then you click on your count, then so basically, like I mentioned, like when you go into any function, so to say, you're going to have like a help showing you the next thing to do, the next value to take, maybe it's a range. So it's just going to give you a detailed information on the next thing you need to do. So you're counting a range in this case. So we want to count, assuming you just want to count how many data sets or how many inputs we have on this particular range. So we've just selected the range in this case, and then you close your brackets, and then you have 9. Also, if you took note of it, when we highlighted, when we just clicked an equal to and a count, or let me just use the count, and then we highlighted, we have this following us, like this tail tag telling us the row and the column. So it's just telling us that this is nine counts, and this is for one column. So but for this count, it just counts anything that is on this cell. It counts all the cells here that have an input. So assuming you have a cell that has no input, it's not going to take note of it. So assuming we just delete a value here, it's going to reduce the number of counts here to 8 against the value that we got earlier, which is 9. So basically that's like how you can do your count. So assuming you want to count everything on this sheet, on this column E, you can just do an equal to count, and you highlight the first one, which is E3, and then you hold your colon and your shift and then your drop down, and then you can just click on enter, and that gives you a total of 33. So we have a total of 33 inputs here. So for you to do an average, so the average is the mean. So in this case, there are also different ways to do the average. To get the average of these numbers, you can just do an equal to, then you type average, then you select the number. So you can just select each of the numbers and put a comma. So this, we're just going serially. So if you put a comma, then you get an average. So the average of these 3 numbers is 9. In a case where you just want to skip some values, maybe you need to get the average of so this I didn't explain earlier. This data set is a data set of different athletes in different locations on a 5-day trip. So this just shows the number of minutes that they ran in these different days to complete like a 100 meters race. So for you to get the average of the average time it has taken cross, or it took cross to run in 5 days. So let me just say average time for cross complete a race. So from this data set, we can just get the average. That's just take the average, that's the number of days divided by the total number of days divided by the number of occurrences of these data sets. So doing it manually, what we can just do is to do equal to, you select this, then plus this, then plus the 3, plus the 4, the 5, and you click on enter. And then, so since there are 5 days, you can just edit this here, just the way you would do a normal mathematical operation, and then you do a divided by and then the number of your days, which is 5. So it's telling us that it's going to take an average of 9. So just to verify that, to do average, so we'll just click on average, and then we'll select this range, which is from the 1 to the 5 on this case. So, and that is also giving us 9. So these are just different ways you can get the average time. So from this, it's just telling us that it's going to take an average time of 9 minutes for cross to complete a race of 100 meters. Also, we can simply drag this and then go into an empty cell and then click on average from this section, and then we also get 9. So if we are going to do for a large data set, we can't basically be using this. It's going to take a very long time. Assuming we are calculating hundreds of data, we need this to be completed in split seconds. We can't keep adding one after the other to get values. So, but the good thing about this is we can always change the values of what we have. So assuming you just want to get the average of 4 numbers, you can just delete one of the data, and then you have an altered data set. So assuming we also want to get the data, the average time is to take all the athletes to run 100 meters from a data set that was collected for a period of 5 days. So we've been able to get the average of cross. So we can just double click on this data set, and then it automatically fills out the remaining information for the other ones. Or we can still just click on equal to, then click on average, and then take the range, and then maybe you can drag this down if the data set is not so long, or if it has spaces in between, or you can just double click and then fill out your data set. So moving on, we have the Sumif. So the if condition can be, you can have the count if, you can have a Sumif. So the if condition is just used when you need to add a condition, when you need to add like you need a detailed or an extra information on the data sets that you're trying to work on. So you use the if conditions to get specific information. So assuming we want to sum if a value, assuming we just want to sum if the years of experience on this data set is 3. So I'm just coming up with different questions for now, but we have, like I said earlier, a data set already made for us to answer. So the sum if or the count if, okay, I'll just do that with count if. So the ifs usually just give us conditions on what we need to do. So the sum total is also just giving us like a total. It's just like summing the data set, or summing the range of values, or summing the values that we need to do, or the data set that we are looking at. Then, so it's just very similar to sum. Then the max is when we need to find the maximum data set or the maximum value in a data set that we are given. So in this case, we have equal to, we just click on max. So assuming we want to get the maximum, the highest value in this cell or in this range of data. So the maximum value is going to be, so we just take a drive. You can just pull from beginning to the end of this, and then you click on enter. So here we have the maximum data to be 525. So it's just telling us here that the maximum data set we are going to, the maximum value we have on this cell, that's the maximum number of completed races so far, is 525. And we can still search manually, and we are going to see 525, and that's for Obisorio. So going further, to do a count if, so the count if, just like the count, is also similar to the count, but in this case, we are going to add a condition to it. So we're going to count if something is happening. So for instance, we want to count if the range of data is less than 10, for instance. So if this range of data, that's if the minutes from day 1 to day 5 is less than 10, we want to count the number of days that it appears. So to do that, it's just like getting the frequency of this data set. So we just want to know how many days, for instance, how many times in this period of 5 days did each of the athletes run, complete their races in less than 7 minutes, for instance. So let me just put the question down. So how many times did each athlete complete a race in less than 7 minutes? Okay, so to get this information, we are going to use, we can use the count if. So we just want to count. So we have different types of counts. The count, okay, the count A, we'll talk about it next. So the count if is telling us to count this data range. So here is asking us for a range. So you're counting this data range, and then you need to give it the criteria. So the criteria is now the condition that this is going to fulfill before it carries out this operation. So the criteria here is count if this range of data is less than 7 minutes. So it has an input that is less than 7 minutes. So to do that, we would need to add an ampersand, and then we have to add less than 7 because we are looking at less than 7 minutes. Then we just cover this and then close, and then you click on enter. So with this, we are seeing that the number of times, so I'll just use frequent here. So the number of times that we have cross running a race and he completed it in less than 7 minutes is just 1. So if you also drop this to fill the remaining, to flash fill the remaining columns, we also have it for different, for all the other athletes. Then from here, we can do different other types of analysis. We can just know if the average time it takes, or the average time it takes for the racers to complete a race within a range, maybe from 7 to 10 minutes, or from 5 to 7 minutes. So we can just run different analysis from here as well. So here we can see that for an athlete like Greg Talk, he's not been able to complete any athletes within this time frame of 7 minutes. So he has not completed any he has not completed any race in 7 minutes. So assuming you just want to also get like just the people that have been able to complete a race in less than 7 minutes, you can just put a filter like I just did, and then you get this data, this number of people. So these are the people that have been able to complete a data in 7 minutes. And then, so we have also the count A. So these are just basic tools that you can use as you're doing like basic analysis in your Excel, and it also comes in handy even for very broader ones, depending on what you're doing on Excel. So the count A is going to count all inputs that you have, and then even the ones that don't have, so it's just going to count the cells within a range of data, even the ones that will not have a blank, or even the ones that are blank. So to do the count A, so here it says count the number of cells in the range that are not empty. So because we don't have any cell here that is not empty, we are going to get a 0 here. Or assuming we're just going from the beginning to the end. So just to correct this range, starting from cell K3. So you're just going to count the cells of data that have an input. So also, if you just delete this, it removes the data that doesn't have an input. So with this, you can go further to do the count blank. So count blank, just like the name, will count the blanks that you have. So here also selecting this range of data, we have that we have a count blank of 11, and that's showing us that we have 11 blank spaces, and we can just easily see them from just looking at this. So this and many other functions are some functions that we also have in Excel. We're still going to look at pivots and VLOOKUPs as we go on, trim functions, lookup functions, just to run a different analysis on how, or rather just to use the formulas basically to run a task or an activity. So I would just like to stop here for now, and then we can continue on a very further or go more on this by tomorrow. We're going to have more time, but I understand that today has already been fast spent. So just like an introductory to what we are going to be doing, that's all for now. So over to you, Christopher or Queen.
Thank you very much. That was a wonderful session. Thank you, thank you. So I hope we had, I want to see us drop our comments on the chat box. How was the lecture? How do you feel? Are you inspired? Are you warming up for tomorrow? So we'd like to get your feedback. Let's put this chat box on fire. Thank you, madam, for this wonderful session. Take home from here, data analytics is the process of examining data sets in order to find trends and draw conclusions about information. She told us about the different steps involved in data analysis, which is data gathering, data collection, data cleaning, data analysis, interpretation, and finally data visualization. So she went further to tell us about the tech skills that are needed, which is the Excel we are doing, SQL, Tableau, Python, and what have you. And then we're able to also be able to see the difference between a data engineer, a data analyst, and a data scientist. And also, what are the things you're supposed to do? And then we're able to see certain functions in Excel, how to sum, count if, and the rest of them. So this session is going to continue tomorrow. Make sure you invite others who are not on this call, send the link to them, and don't miss tomorrow for anything. Thank you very much, madam, for that wonderful section. Just take one. If you have a question quickly, we can just take a few questions before we go for today. The first question is Jupyter Notebook a data analysis software, and how does it work?
Okay, so for Jupyter Notebook, it's linked to Python. It's a programming tool. You can use it for data analysis, but you can use it for analyzing data generally in the big picture. So it works. How does it work? It works by knowing the syntax for the coding to use to run the to run your Jupyter Notebook analysis. So you just need to learn your Python. So in a Python series, you get to learn how to use Jupyter, how to use Anaconda, and basically, so the Jupyter Notebook it's a tool that you can use in data analysis, in data analytics as a big picture. But for the analysis, that's for this one, you don't exactly need it right now. If you know how to use it, it's fine. It's good for data science. It's good for the next level. It's also good for it's one of the basic knowledge that we are talking about when you're doing data analysis or data analytics. So it's just a part of it's just a kind of programming. It needs syntax for you to be able to use it. So does that make sense? You can actually go off. You can actually unmute and talk. I don't know if it's fine.
Okay, the person that asked the question, has your question been answered?
Okay, so don't worry. You can just go for that.
Okay. So the person is so okay. That question has been answered. Can you design a dashboard on Excel? Can Excel, can you design a
Very well.
dashboard on Excel? But it has been answered.
Yes, you
Okay.
Yes, you can very well. You can design a dashboard, an interactive dashboard for that matter on Excel. So the thing is, people feel Excel is cliche actually. They feel they've moved on to chill with the big boys. Like they feel they can now use Power BI, Tableau. Well, giving it to them, Power BI, Tableau, they are very good visualization tools. They have like easy ways of, I wouldn't say easy, well, easy when you learn it, but then you can do a dashboard on Excel. But people just feel they've moved on. But very good techies. For me, I would rather use a Power BI to do my dashboard or a Tableau. But then that's notwithstanding. Yes, you can comfortably build a dashboard on Excel.
Okay, I can see we have lots of feedbacks on the chat box. Um, I can see it was an excellent session from Feliciana. Arinze said he loved the session. Um, some other person said
Thank
they
you.
can't wait for tomorrow. Michelle said thanks for the wonderful presentation. The time, okay, it's asking for the time tomorrow to be communicated. It was very expository. They learned a lot. Okay, I think I saw something. I graduated from university 3 years ago, and I wish I had this knowledge on data analysis before I submitted my project. I learned a lot, or someone when it's well explained and detailed.
Thank
One
you.
a very interesting session from Maureen. From Joy, wow, this is exciting. I can't wait for tomorrow. I will learn a lot. Thanks a lot, Engineer Sylvia. So I can see that everyone is excited. The students are excited. They are interested in what is going on, and then they can't wait for tomorrow. So thank you very much, Engineer
Okay,
Sylvia.
thank
We
you.
hope to see you tomorrow. So please, Simeon, can you please help us project the program slide? Thank you
Okay,
very
sorry,
much for this session. Thank
just
you.
just the last word if you don't
Okay.
mind. So please,
Okay.
so tomorrow we are going to have like a longer session, like you're going to be communicated to very soon. I'm also going to try to share a data set that we're going to use to work with. So you can just start getting acquainted to the data set for tomorrow. Then also we're going to have an interactive session. Please, I'm going to have to stop at some point to check the chat just to see that we are all following, because I can speak from now till tomorrow, but if you don't do it, if you don't go hands on, if you don't make those mistakes, then you will almost be where you are. So just try and get your tools, get a laptop, and then we can also practice along. So thank you very much. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, this brings me to a question. Sorry, Engineer Sylvia, before you go. So some of the students might want to know, you listed out a lot of data analytics tools that they can use. So can you tell us, like, what should you start with? Which is the most basic? I believe it's Excel, but after Excel, can I just go on and do Python or R, or I have to do Tableau first or Power BI? What should it look like?
Okay, so let me just take it like this, right? I need to explain to somebody why I need to answer a question. I need to answer a question, someone's question, basically. So first of all, I would advise Excel, like you said. So Excel, because you can use it for just basic tools. Some people are very scared of some people are very scared of programming. Like when they hear programming, like they're already taking off. So Excel is a very good tool. You can just start from Excel. Then from Excel, you can still be able to visualize using your charts in Excel. So Excel will give you hands-on, like it's a start to finish, but then it is limited because of the number of data sets and then the speed of processing. And but you can start from Excel, you can do your visuals, you can see your charts, you can do a mini dashboard, you can use slicers to interact with your charts. So you can just do Excel and then understand what's the whole data analysis, answer questions with Excel, use your graphs. Then when you're done, you can now go further to querying data sources, because why you have to go, why you need to do the SQL next is because not all data can come in the form of CSV or in form of so CSV is comma separated um, version. I need to confirm that, but CSV is just a data type. It's just a data set type, just like you have in Excel. So not all of them will come in as a spreadsheet. So you need to maybe query a database. So when you're going further, when the meat is getting tougher, you now serve the bone, you have to now go on to Excel, on to SQL, sorry. So even on the SQL, there are still basic tools. So you still have to start with how to use your select, which is just the basics, how to, so select is actually the basic, but you have to, like, it's something you cannot do without in Excel. So you have to go on to the SQL. Then when you're done, then you can also just go further, just for a broader, just for better freestyle in your SQL or in your data world. And because of course you will not be analyzing just small data, and then of course you might need to have other people interact with the data, so you have to move on to a bigger visualization tool, which is Power BI or Tableau. So Power BI and Tableau is something as Excel will do, but it's going to do it in a different way and in another way. So yes, so Excel, get it done well, go on to your SQL, then you can do a visualization tool, which is either Power BI or Tableau or any other one. Then you can also go further into using your Python or your R. I didn't mention the R. Python, people prefer Python. Well, I would say people. Let me just say Python is largely used because people believe it's easy to do. Like, it's the syntax, you can just be speaking to it in English in quotes, and you understand, and the and it and like the code would communicate to you, like it flows better with Python. But you can use Python, you can use R, and then you can also use SPSS and other and statistical analysis tools that are related to the section that you're using. But for basics, I would advise for now, you can just do the Excel, get grounded in SQL because you would need to analyze bigger data sets at some point. Then move on to a Tableau or Power BI, then get grounded in those ones. In these three, do your projects, be very fine in these three, then you can now move on to getting SPSS or other, because I've been seeing SPSS around, can now move further to getting other more specific tools like HR analysis. They also have their own unique tools that they can also use in those fields, but just do the basics first.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, man. Okay, so Simeon, please, can we have the photograph session? Everybody, please put on your videos so we can take photograph. Please put on your videos. Let's take photograph. Then you can put it back off. Simeon, over to you. Hello, Simeon, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay, let's put on a smiley face. Some videos are still coming up. Thirty seconds more. 20 seconds. 10 seconds. Okay, we are good.
Okay, you cannot put off your videos. All right, thank you very much. Please, can we have a volunteer give us a closing prayer so we can close for today?
Sorry, but you are right. Let's have for all the females on call a photograph
Sorry.
session, please.
Okay,
Yes,
for
please.
only
All the
females.
females on call, yeah.
Okay, okay. So all females, put on your videos.
Is it the female that will snap the picture or the male?
The female, Simeon, take a picture of the females.
Okay, we are good.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so finally, can we have someone volunteer to take the closing prayer? A female, please.
In Jesus' name,
Amen.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the success of this meeting. We thank you for our tutor. We thank you for everything that's done here today. We give you praise to be thou exalted in Jesus' name. We commit ourselves this day into your hands. May you protect us even as we sleep. And we commit tomorrow's meeting into your hands. We ask that you be successful as this one and help us to be doers of whatever we learn here, oh God. For in Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen.
Amen. Okay, so the recording will be uploaded on YouTube page, on our YouTube page, and the link will be posted tomorrow, so you can go back and watch the videos. Thank you everyone for joining, and we hope to see you tomorrow. Please invite us so we can have. I want to see 100 participants tomorrow. I want to see 100 people on the call. So make sure you come with someone tomorrow. Thank you very much, and have a good night.